Hi everyone, so I'm going to do a demonstration using gouache. This is all gouache. I have Permanent White by Utrecht, Cobalt Blue, Holbein, Cobalt Green, Pale Green Shade by Holbein, Brilliant Pink by Holbein, Chinese Orange by Holbein, Flame Red by Holbein, Moss Green by Holbein, Olive Green by Holbein, and Burnt Umber. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this small palette knife. I would not use the plastics. This is a number 47 by RGM Haley Blick. Palette knives come in different sizes and shapes, but since this is a small drawing that I made, a linear drawing, I want to use a small palette knife. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this Chinese orange and I'm going to place it here. And one moment, I just need one more thing. I'm going to use this cloth to wipe off. So now it's clean because we don't want to taint in between mixtures of color. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some white and I'm going to mix this into a solid. Now this is going to be good for the coxcomb and the other parts to the portrait of the hen. But notice, see how when I'm mixing with a palette knife, and this is applicable to oil, see how I don't leave any of the like white coming through or this flame red, so any of the color, I make it into a solid. So that is important. Again, clean off your palette knife. So the next thing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the palette knife for the snow. So there's some white. And then in the snow, I see a tiny bit of blue. So I'm going to use this very tiny, because this is a dominant color, a little bit of that cobalt green shade. And this is good because it has that cool green blue, or I could have used some cerulean, but I like this better. So here I'm gonna see how I scraped up my color mixture. Now what I'm gonna do is lay it down, which I did. And I like that mark, and see how I just spread it? Now I scraped more from my palette. I like that, so I'm going to leave that be. So then I'm just going to go back and do the same thing. More white. Can you see what I'm doing? Yeah, you can. Great. I'm going to clean off my knife. Now see how I'm applying the paint here to this form? The same thing can be about the chicken. This shape, that shape. And I'm going to do that, but I also would like to describe that with brush. See, I'd rather use the palette knife for the snow or the background. See, that's my choice. Oop, tiny bit. You don't want a lot. When mixing colors, you want to think about like ratio. Now this is good. So then scrape. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply that right there. Ooh, I like that, but I wanted to go over my line. Yep, I like that. I have some more of that color I'm going to place some of it there. Oh, I like that. So take more white, place that there, take a tiny bit of the green. And I didn't clean off my palette knife then, but I don't mind right now. Just want to make this into a solid color. Yep, okay, great. So then, there we go. There. Now see, I kind of liked how I did before. I shouldn't have. I like that. See, that's nice. I like that edge. Okay. Now, if I want to, which is fine, I could just take some whitewash too, and I could go like this. So you could do that with any color. But see how I'm being strategic about it? See how I'm applying it at different angles? And I'm using it planarly right now rather than linearly. And I'll show you what I mean. So that's planar too. Take more of that white and a little bit of the blue. It's great. I'm working on cold press watercolor paper, so you could use this for both cold press watercolor paper or hot press or toned paper or on panel. So I think I need more white. Where is it? Here we go. Great. That is the one color that you will run out of the most in painting, is white. Now, okay. You can smooth out what you don't like. I like this texture, so I would leave it if it was mine. But if you don't like that, you can smooth it out. Okay, so here I said I was going to show you. If I wanted to draw with it linearly, see how I take the tip and I go like that? But I don't like that, so I go like that. Planar, I like planar better. But you know, sometimes it might be necessary, you know, so don't limit yourself. Try and see. See how I just scraped it? See, that was linear there because the tip caught the edge, and I like that. So I'm going to let that go for now. Okay, so there's that. So now I would want to do the background, but I prefer my brush right now. But see, you can paint with a palette knife, and you can do that with the chicken too, but I don't want to do that with this chicken. So I'm dipping only the tip, like I talk about. And, oop, again, only the tip. Now this is half and half consistency. That's good. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw with the tip of my brush. And I'm going to choose an even smaller brush. And I'm going to go like that. And I'm going to take some of that white cobalt shade of green with the flame red and white. And I'm going to make like this flesh color. Now see, this is like watercolor, but see how it's still opaque? But this was like half and half consistency. So I'm doing wet into wet there. And I'm going to let that dry for a moment. And I'm going to clean off, this is now the dirty water, so I'm going to clean off my brush. Dry it off. Again, only tip. Take some of this burnt umber. Clean off my brush. Dry it off on the side. Dry it off on my paper towel again. Dip only the tip. Needs a little more body. Okay, good. This is half and half consistency right here. Excellent. So now okay, clean off brush again. Mix in that color. Need to load my brush, see how it dragged. And I'm going to clean off my brush again. And I'm going to add some white into there. Off my brush. And I'm going to dip the tip of my brush in this green. Take some of this color in there. That's really thick, so that's like oil paint now. So dry off my brush to thin it out, tip. This is good. This is half and half consistency right here. Okay. Whoop, got cobalt. Pale shade of green on my hand. Gotta wash that off. I like that shape actually. Actually, and I also want to take some of this color and this, and I just want to go right there. And I kind of like those dots like that. And I want to take some of that. I probably should wait to let that dry. Oops. Okay. I'll just wait, even though I don't want to. Yeah, I can go. Ooh, I like that. I like that. So once I let this dry, then I can go back in and develop this some more. Because it does need more developed. So let's say you have a dark area of trees that are blocked in here, but the trees are kind of cropped. I want to use that moss green, and I should have cleaned my brush, but I don't want to do that right now. And I'm going to use that mixture. Can you see what I'm doing? Yes, you can. Sorry about that. It's a nice color too. But that's like oil paint. See how thick it is? But, you know, if you were working on a smooth surface like Duralar or Yupo paper, that would be awesome. So dip the tip. That's good. That's half and half consistency, but I'm going to take some of that blue. Take more blue. Ooh, I like that. But I want it to add, again, this color in here. And add more blue. I want to add some green. Clean off my brush, and I want to take some of this Cobalt shade of green. And I want to take more of this green. Okay. And I need a darker color. I'm going to add some dark green gouache to that. I want to do that. Only the tip. Grab some of that. Oops. Okay, that's thick, but I need some of this color again. More of that color. And I think some of that Chinese orange. Yeah. I like this color. Okay. If I wanted to use just a tiny bit of the dark green again, mix it thoroughly. Okay, this is also a nice color too. I like that color. So let's say now this is at the half and half consistency. So, oh, it's so nice. And see, this is scrubbing, so you can scrub, block in part of your painting by scrubbing. Or here also, like to describe the texture of the trees, like blocking in like a group, or you could go like that. I like that. I'm using my left hand. And there's a tree over there. And then, so I can let that be for a moment. And there's like, you know, you can draw linearly, you know, with your brush. This seems a little object oriented, but it's in progress. And I'm just showing like different ways. Now see, this is because my brush isn't loaded. Just showing you like different ideas. You can go back in to what you're doing. I like that. That's nice. Oh, oops, oops, oops. But you can go back into areas. I don't have much pigment and I'm scrubbing. I don't have much pigment on my brush and I'm scrubbing. You can see also like the dragging that's saying I don't have much pigment. So you can come into where you already painted too if you wanted to. Whoops. That's okay. You can always go back over and fix. Ooh, I like that. See how I'm pulling that green down to like that. This is wetted to wet. Go back in. I like that. Then to work around that linearly and then pulling up. You can leave some of the white pieces if you want. Let's see, this consistency of the gouache paint's manipulated to be like watercolor. And so I want to go back into this, but this gives you an idea of how to use the palette knife. Wet into wet technique, pulling up color into another color, scrubbing, showing, the dragging of the brush because the brush isn't loaded with pigment. And, blocking in an area like with your brush too, planarly, vertically, and, horizontally too. All right. Thank you so much.